I told you, perpetual black second, like that's like the best one. Why is it the best one? Why is it one of the best ones? Why are they all the best one? That's what I want to talk about today. It's all about the cycles. I've said this before. Meshuggah is a band that's thinking about cycles. What do I really mean by that? All right, let's get right into what the specifics of cyclical juxtaposition is. All right, so let's take 16 beats, 4 by 4, right? 4 bars of 4. So you have 16 quarter notes in 4 bars of 4. So the cycles within that are just the numbers that you can use to organize those 16 beats. But we have multiple layers here, right? So we have quarter note layer, we have eighth note layer, and we have 16th note layer. We also have the triplet layer, but let's just stay, not get carried away with all these variables here. So the cycles are based on grouping one of those subdivisions in some way that's going to add up to whatever it needs to add up to get to 16 beats or 4 measures of 4/4. For example, if it's on the 8th notes, we're talking about 32 subdivisions, and if we're on the 16th notes, we're talking about 64 subdivisions. So all of those numbers can be rearranged in a million different ways. That's where creativity comes in. You're plugging in the numbers to organize these larger phrases. Here's an example of how we could reorganize 16 beats. So we could look on the quarter note level. That might be the simplest for now. So 16 beats divided up, what about 2 sevens? That gets us to 14. Then we just do 2 more. That gets us to 16. We have 2 cycles of 7, but of course we add those extra 2 beats at the end to get to 16. That's because our parameter, our backdrop of reality is 4 bars of 4/4. So you need to have a parameter. You have to create that parameter for yourself. Meshuggah just does the classic. They're just like, let's just use 4/4. That would be the perfect parameter. And of course, literally, it's like, why didn't anyone else do it? Really, And maybe they did, but not in the way that Meshuggah did. Meshuggah's like, we are only going to do this because there's infinite numbers of sequencing combinations we can deal with just that framework. So let's talk about if we were to do it on the 8th note level. We have 32 subdivisions in 4 measures of 4/4 if we're thinking 8th notes. So now let's talk about what you might want to do with that. 32. Oh, let's look at 5 this time. How close can 5 get us? Well, 5 gets us, 6 times 5 gets us to 30, right? I think so. Plus 2 more. Then we have 2 more. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 7. You see what I'm saying? These are all 8th notes. 5 groupings of 5 8th notes gets us to 25, so that leaves us with 7 extra. So if you're going to do 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 7, of course you can go 5, 7, 5, 5, 5, 5. And I'm talking about claves right now. Like, what does 5 sound like? Bop, bop, t. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Bop, bop, t. So that means you can go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Bop, t, bop. That's just the basic little building blocks. So what does a 7 sound like? Bop, 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 t. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And then that 3, that grouping of 3, that's always like the monkey wrench in the system. That's what makes it work, is you're moving around that 3 depending on whatever subdivision you're on. So we're talking 8th notes right now. So I'm thinking if I want to do something cool with 7, I could do bop, bop, t, bop. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Bop, 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 t, bop, t, bop, bop. That was 14, but I put the 3s together. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Bop, 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 t, bop, t, bop, bop. That's 14. So we're talking about 16 beats, but we're talking about 32 8th notes. So depending on what subdivision, you can do some pretty interesting stuff. So now, how am I applying this not just compositionally, but improvisationally? I'm thinking about ways I can facilitate these 3s and these 2s. So for doing 100, getting close to 100 Meshuggah studies, man, it's really changed the way that I think about everything, compositionally, improvisationally. Like, I was coming at this originally wanting to improve my rhythmic sensibility for real-time improvisation. That's what I care about the most. That's like what I love to do in music more than anything else, real-time improvisation. And I saw that Meshuggah was bringing a sort of systematic way of organizing any rhythm that you hear. Because the whole point of real-time improvisation is that people are hearing the same thing different ways, right? You could hear, like one person could hear a 5 grouped as bop to bop, 1 2 3 1 2, but that other 5/8 notes of time could be interpreted by another person as bop bop 2, 1 2 1 2 3, and we're just hearing different variations on literal space and time, but those linking up together create really great moments in improvisation. It can feel like there's a bit of a rub, because there is a rub. There's a natural counterpoint coming there that can throw off your concentration in improvisation, because it's like a monkey wrench. It's literally like a monkey wrench in the system when somebody is doing a 3 when you're doing a 2, and you're going to have to wait to link up with that person later. So Meshuggah is teaching me how to interpret this information really quickly when I'm improvising, because we're rehearsing with the band. We literally never stop rehearsing. COVID, we didn't stop. We've been putting together a really, really messed up album. And you guys are going to be like, some people might hear all the Meshuggah in that. Some people might be like, dude, that sounds literally nothing like Meshuggah at all. But I will tell you that I'm using a lot of the same building blocks to create these cyclical juxtapositions that I'm getting from studying Meshuggah. I'm getting these ideas from studying Meshuggah. So it's like, this is an institution. Like, it's changed my entire musical existence. And I've been doing music for a long time, but this Meshuggah thing is greatest thing I've ever done. Good, dude. Good. Literally so good.